Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? I have the Xiaomi Mi 11 in hand, and welcome to your real-world camera test. A lot of the photos and videos, pretty much everything you're going to see in this video is taken on this particular phone. I know you guys like these real-world camera tests, so make sure you do hit that like button so I know that, and then subscribe to my channel for even more from this phone, but also more real-world camera tests and general reviews. Okay, so kind of a special day. You know that I like to go to my sort of like paid gardens slash arboretums and stuff like that. But as things are slowly starting to open up with full social distancing guidelines and also limited capacities, and the latest place to open, which I'm really excited to go to, and I think will be a good showcase of what this phone can do with its cameras, is the LA Zoo. That's right, we're talking about this right here. This is the Xiaomi Mi 11, a beautiful looking device that I did cover up with this fabric case for the majority of this day when I went to the LA Zoo. That's mainly because I wanted to make sure I had a lot of grip on it. It does provide a lot of that, but it is of course covering up the beautiful shine of the Mi 11 itself. Now, as you are probably aware, this is the next phone to have the Snapdragon 888 powering it, so this is yet another high-powered device with the latest Qualcomm chipset. The other specifications that are pertinent to this video though are of course the camera specs. You have the 108 megapixel main sensor, you have a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and a 5 megapixel macro lens, which can be used for both photo and video capture. And then on the front, you have a 20 megapixel front facing shooter.
That was pretty funny. I asked somebody here, given the new guidelines and the new setup of the zoo right now, what's like the best thing that I should check out? They basically said the gorillas, also the elephants. But what I found so funny was that her frame of reference was, make sure you go left or right or past the churro stand. Now I just want churros.
Now, clearly at the zoo, I'm going to have a lot of desire to actually zoom into all of the animals that might be in their enclosures. The thing is, this phone does not have an actual zoom on it. There's no telescopic lens on here. There's not even a 2x telephoto lens on here. Instead, you're going to be using that 108 megapixel sensor and cropping into that high resolution capture. The thing is, that digital zoom will end up having some diminishing returns. You're going to see sharpness kind of drop off once I get to 2x, and then definitely at 5x, which is what I used a lot in this video so I can get actual good photos of the animals at the zoo. The ultra-wide sensor is fine, there's really nothing wrong with it. It is something that you can use in order to get that more dramatic look and fit more into the frame. In photos, its dynamic range is helped along by an auto HDR that I have on at all times, and then of course in videos I'm happy to use it so I can get even more that is in front of me in the video.
Obviously I'm not going to be complaining about what we can and can't see. I'm only pointing out that there's a lot that you can't see. A lot of the areas are blocked off, a lot of signs up, like this one that tells you to stay back. And then in those cases, something like a zoom lens would be pretty nice, but that's not what you get on this phone.
4K video recording is available on the main sensor and the ultra wide, with 8K recording available if you just use the 108 megapixel sensor. And as I mentioned in the unboxing of this phone, I was already a little bit disappointed knowing that the front facing camera does not do anything above 1080. So clearly the focus of this camera phone is going to be that main sensor. Xiaomi put all of their software features and modes into that particular sensor so that you have a lot of capabilities even if you don't really have the optical reach that something like zoom provides. But as you'll notice in this video, a lot of the things that might be really fun to use on this phone are relegated to 1080p resolution, which brought me to a thought that I feel like is the norm when it comes to our smartphones these days that don't have 4K across the board. 4K is simply not a setting yet in smartphones. It is not something you can turn on and then use for all of the different things that you might want to use the phone for. Instead, it's better to think about 4K in this device as a mode in and of itself, something you turn on when you need it, but it's not something you can rely on in every single other mode. So yeah, it's something that's a bit of a disappointment, but it's what I've had to come to terms with on this and plenty of other phones that don't have 4K in the extra modes, like for example the vlog mode, and of course the cinema effects which Xiaomi is touting in this new phone. Fundamentally, the camera experience is just fine. As long as you're not zooming in too far into those 108 megapixel sensor photos, you're not going to see too much of a loss in quality, but it is noticeable. That's just the nature of digital zoom in. The ultra-wide is fine. It is not an extraordinary performer by any means, but it is there if you need it. And because we don't get to do it too often, I do have to give a little bit of credit to the macro lens for actually being not too shabby. But for everything that Xiaomi is saying that their phone can do, and there's a lot of modes right here, the thing is, this feels like just another iteration on top of what we know Xiaomi is capable of already. Different things like their night mode and their vlog mode and the dual video modes are all things that we've seen in previous devices. The cinema effects do show some of the capabilities of the 108 megapixel sensor, sure, but the results may not translate to more than just fun novelty things that you can put on your social media once in a while. For anybody looking for some raw quality, you basically have to keep to the fundamentals of this phone. Shoot at 1x, whether it's photo or video, or shoot with the ultra-wide sensor. Get on the front-facing camera and mostly focus on selfies, but anything beyond all of this, and you start to go into territories that are not quite as high in quality as we would hope.
Yes, got to the elephants, got to see them too. Too often, whenever I go to the LA Zoo or the San Diego Zoo, you get to the elephants and they're like way, way, way far away. I love elephants. Elephants might be one of my favorite animals. But yeah, really awesome to be able to see one. Almost pretty much mission accomplished, I guess. Like, whenever you go to one of the zoos, the elephants are usually like so far away. It's always a big bummer.
It's not to say that this camera package is not good. It is a good performer. You can get some good photos out of it. It's just that Xiaomi decided to dial back in certain places and push forward with their software to a result that might be a little bit mixed. Granted, it was a beautiful day out in Los Angeles, of course, in the LA Zoo, so this phone was put in an environment that would probably make its camera perform as well as it can. For a phone that does undercut many of its competitors in price, there's a lot here to really like. You get all of the performance that you would want out of a Snapdragon 888 processor, on top of all of the different features that Xiaomi was able to pack in while keeping the phone quite svelte. And the camera package, while maybe not the best that I have seen, is more than enough for people at that price point. It's probably going to be enough for a lot of casual users out there who look to Xiaomi to have a little bit of extra fun that is available when they decide to have it. Let me know what you thought of everything you saw in the comments down below. For more on the Xiaomi Mi 11, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. With all of that said, I'm going to call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching, take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.